time now for Swerve Me Wrong, where I have 10 minutes to convince Ralph and the rest of the IWC that their popular opinion is wrong. The last couple of weeks, we talked about the WWE product, that whether or not it's oversaturated, whether the ratings are dropping because of bad booking. And now there's a story out there that's saying that Vince has admitted that he does not trust the current roster and he needs guys like The Undertaker and Triple H and Shawn Michaels and The Rock to come back. He needs the Attitude Era guys to help with the ratings and keep the brand alive because the current roster doesn't do it. So we got 10 minutes on the clock, and that time starts now. So, Ralph, I'm going to list off here the main events of each pay-per-view from now until Super Showdown. So the Royal Rumble was the first ever women's Royal Rumble won by Asuka, okay? Not a part-timer, not a Attitude Era wrestler. Then you had a six-pack challenge, AJ Styles, Ziggler, Cena, Corbin, Owens, and Zayn. Then you had the Elimination Chamber won by Braun Strowman. WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Backlash, Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe. Money in the Bank, won by Braun Strowman. Extreme Rules, Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship. SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Hell in a Cell, Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. So, how many of those are Attitude Era guys and part-timers?
Maybe one.
None.
Brock?
Brock's not really an Attitude Era guy. He's Ruthless Aggression, if anything. And so the main event is supposed to be the one that sells the tickets, right? If you believe Al Snow and the real guys in wrestling, the main event is what sells the show. No Attitude Era guys there. They're pushing a guy named AJ Styles. And not only is he the cover guy of WWE 2K19, but he's also been the WWE champion, the top prize in the company, for about a year now. And the 5 WWE champions before him, AJ Styles, Jinder Mahal, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, and John Cena. Who was the first Universal Champion?
Was it Finn Balor?
That would be Finn Balor. Who was the second Universal Champion?
That was Kevin Owens?
Kevin Owens. So right there should tell you that Vince does trust his current roster. He gives them the opportunities to succeed. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. Just because Super Showdown's main event was Undertaker versus Triple H and Crown Jewels will be DX versus the Brothers of Destruction should not make you believe that he needs the Attitude Era guys. Let us not forget, Australia, this is the first show that they had a big pay-per-view in 16 years. Crown Jewel, this is Saudi Arabia. There's a new market that they're trying to get into. And the person that is giving them all the money wants those particular guys there. So that's where the money is. Other than that, tell me where Vince needs the Attitude Era guys.
So Vince, as it's been well established and understood, Vince is a smart businessman. So he's going to go where the money is. And I think he can see the flaws in the show now. And we've talked a little bit about ratings, how the ratings have certainly gone down. Ticket sales, I think, are down to a certain extent as well. And there's just not as much as an investment from a fan point of view perspective in some of the newer guys. When you compare that to, as you mentioned last week, the fact that the Undertaker segment was the highest rated or the most viewed thing on YouTube, Vince sees that, I think, and he understands that, okay, if I can put these guys, even if to in a limited role, they still have the ability to draw. If you were to tell me, okay, well, Steve Austin's going to come out of retirement and he's going to have a match, would you have any... Would you believe that he would outdraw anybody currently on the WWE roster?
Because of the story behind it, no. But you're talking about someone that's coming out of retirement for the first time in 8 years.
So he'd draw more than somebody on the current roster, you think, or no?
Without a doubt. But you're talking about Shawn Michaels.
I'm talking about Steve Austin.
Steve Austin. I'm sorry, Steve Austin. If it's his first match since WrestleMania 19, so even further than 8 years, then yeah. Mm-hmm. But that's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay. And if you were to sit there and somebody asked you, okay, do you think that do you think Shawn Michaels is still capable of delivering a great match? What would you say?
I've already told you that I have.
Okay. Now, with all of that being said, the fact that ratings are down and all of that other stuff that we've talked about previously, and you believe that ratings don't matter. I think they should.
No, I don't believe it. It's true. Ratings don't matter anymore.
Fair enough. Do you also believe that, we've talked about this before as well, the characters nowadays they're not as compelling and people can't get behind them as much as maybe some of the wrestlers from previous, more specifically the Attitude Era?
Right, but that's, again, the Attitude Era was the most lucrative time in any time in wrestling industry.
Yeah.
Where now you're talking about the WWE, who just had signed a $1 billion deal with Fox. That's not, and they're not getting The Rock. They're not getting Triple H. They're not getting The Undertaker. They're not getting Shawn Michaels. They're not getting Austin. They're getting, maybe, if they, do a draft, they're getting Roman Reigns. They're getting AJ Styles. They're getting Ronda Rousey. They're getting Seth Rollins. Mm-hmm. Vince trusts these guys enough to say, you know what? I'm going to try and get a $1 billion deal out of Fox.
Right.
And he got it.
Well, he trusts them because he has no one else. That's who's on his roster. You can't do anything about that. He can't just magically wave a wand and create a character.
No, I understand that. But if it was where he doesn't trust his guys, he would be not putting them in prime time spots. He would not be putting them in main events and try to find every single way to get these Attitude Era guys back at every pay-per-view to try to increase subscriptions.
Well, to a certain extent, he kind of is. I mean, he's bringing back Shawn Michaels. We've heard the rumors about The Rock coming back.
But that's, take Crown Jewel out of this.
He's still coming back.
He's coming back, but because of the money that the Prince of Saudi Arabia is giving WWE. It has nothing to do with, I don't trust that Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins can sell. I need Shawn Michaels to come back. It's just because this Prince of Saudi Arabia still thinks it's 1997 and wants Yokozuna and the Ultimate Warrior there.
Well, okay. Well, how about Jericho? If Vince were to sign back Jericho, would you deny that he'd be one of the biggest stars right now in the WWE?
Yes, but there's a difference between Jericho and the other guys. Jericho has been continually active in WWE and in wrestling pretty much since 1993. It's not where he went on to do a movie and became the biggest selling actor of all time. It's not like he went on and became a podcast host.
Right.
And
he does have
a podcast, but it's not like he's doing the Broken Skull Ranch. It's not like The Undertaker, who only does it at WrestleMania, or Shawn Michaels, who said, you know what, I'm retired, I'm not doing it anymore. Jericho's been active. So it's a little different because Jericho comes in when he wants, and could he become a main event guy? I mean, the way he's, always changing his character and the way he is now, probably. But he's been back in times where people say they trust too much on the part-time guys. He's come back and it hasn't main evented. He doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to, but, the main point of this discussion is this. Vince, to a certain extent, needs these guys because at a certain level, he might not trust the guys that are currently on the roster. So you take a guy like Jericho, somebody he can rely on, or you take a guy like Triple H, somebody that he relies on. Shawn Michaels, those guys, he's bringing them back. One, because it's evident that people still want to see them. Undertaker's still going to be a draw. You put him in WrestleMania.
I get that.
At this point in his career, people are still going to pay tickets to see him. Whether it's, they're paying for the tickets, they're paying for the merchandise. And Vince understands that, I think. So yes, the guys that are currently on the roster now, they're a draw and people want to see them, but not. I still think that the guys from the Attitude Era have some certain value, and I think Vince understands that, and he wants to capitalize on it.
All right, I can agree to that argument, but there's got to be a point where people have to realize that nostalgia can only get you so far. How many times have we seen reboots and remakes and relaunches of shows or movies that have just failed because they're just not as good as the original or what we remember them by? Sometimes it's just better to leave it as is. I think that's why Austin has never come back. It's just better to remember him for what he was between 1997 and 2002. Yep. It's better that we don't see. I mean, it would have been better to see the Undertaker retire after WrestleMania 33 than what we've seen since. The guy can't move. Pretty much it's going to be done with the Undertaker. Triple H, there's still something left in the tank, and because he's, in the company and he's Vince's son-in-law, that's a little different. But then Shawn Michaels, I think as much as people want him to come back, maybe it might be better off to leave him where it was, because we can remember him back in 2010 where he left off. But again, I have said that he could still have a good match, so only time will tell.
If you like this segment of the Squared Circle Psycho Babble, why not listen to the full podcast by clicking the video on the screen right now? And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review wherever podcasts are available. If you want to see more videos of the Squared Circle Psycho Babble, make sure you hit subscribe and the bell for notifications.